Welcome back, folks. It is 5:10 on this terrific Tuesday evening. I'm Josephine Sage. Let's jump right into the forecast. Right now, as we take a look outside at America's Mattress Live Tower Cam, we're looking east, and we've got these beautiful clear skies that are going to continue with us into the evening hours. And as we take a look at our weather headlines, we're going to notice that's due to a high pressure system that's still centered over Colorado. So that means we've got lots and lots of sunshine and dry air that's going to be sticking with us on the western slope at least until Thursday. Then we've got that possible chance for showers to move on in closer to the end of the work week. So as we take a look a little bit further out, those showers have a chance to move on in similarly to what we were looking at yesterday, as we've got low pressure closer to that west coast area and this high pressure system centered over us. These two systems are going to start to kind of tug a war with each other and bring on up some subtropical moisture. So even as we take a look at that airflow, this high pressure ridge is going to start to amplify and kind of move over that plains area, and then we're going to notice these arrows of this flow are going to kind of circle around this high pressure and start to move our flow up through that Gulf of Mexico, up through that Texas, up through that Mexico area, because as we take a look at those different type of air masses, we're actually looking at a maritime tropical and continental tropical front moving, not front, but moving on in from off that Florida coast and over that Gulf, Mexico, and Texas area. So this is what we're kind of looking at as that moves on through. A little bit of a closer look. That hurricane season is from June 1st to November 30th, but this is that flow that's getting drug up through that Gulf of Mexico area to bring in some subtropical moisture over that Four Corners region and give us that unsettled weather for the late work week. But before I get into the details about that, I want to chat about our pollen forecast. We do have low trees, low grasses in terms of those irritations hanging on out, but very, very high weeds as we get into that peak weed irritation season for us here on the western slope, and some moderate mold still prevalent for us here. And I also want to chat about those wind speeds, because those definitely could be varying throughout the next 72 hours. Our wind speeds could be getting up into 25, maybe even 35 miles an hour due to some warm air advection, especially north of the Colorado River over those northern mountain areas. But right now we are looking at some pretty mild winds, less than 10 miles an hour, at least in the Grand Valley. Currently, also on that warmer side of things, 92 degrees in Grand Junction, 95 in Moab, 94 in Delta, 88 degrees in Montrose, and in those higher elevation regions, a few degrees cooler, hanging out in those 70s and those low to mid 80s. Our almanac will show us we're actually just a few degrees above what we're used to this time of year on both ends of things, hanging out at 93 instead of that typical 88 this afternoon, and 61 instead of that typical 59 as we get into those evening hours. And I've got Milo still hanging out with me this week for the dog walking forecast. We'll notice those peak temperatures are actually going to happen in those later afternoon hours tomorrow in those low 90s. And in just about a week, we're still going to be above those seasonal average temperatures. So with that in mind, we are still in a drought, even though we're expecting some upcoming, moisture. We're in that moderate zone, and areas like Alamosa and closer to that Four Corners region are in that severe drought. That extended forecast is going to show us, tomorrow's that peak temperature at 97 for the week. And as soon as all that subtropical moisture starts to move on in for the weekend, we're going to have that pretty big drop in temperatures. And come that early work week, in some of those very, very high peak higher elevation areas at the top of those mountaintops, we have that slight chance for maybe some snow showers on Monday with those coolest temperatures.